what everybody is talking about. The Bachelorette has cast a new lead for the upcoming 16th season about 2 weeks into filming. All right, Lauren, as someone who covers the Bachelor world extensively, what does that mean?
Oh, Denny, this is unprecedented for the franchise. We have never had a situation where the lead has changed mid-season. Now, Clare Crawley's season was already going to be unprecedented because we've also never had a global pandemic.
Right,
So
exactly.
remember, her season was supposed to film months ago. It was supposed to have aired by now already. And it just got started a couple of weeks ago. We do know did have the information that they are quarantining the cast, the crew, and filming in the Palm Springs area of Los Angeles. Then these rumors start flying a couple days ago that, whoa, Tayshia might be quarantining with them. Why would she be there? Tayshia had not posted on social media in several days. And ultimately, we have found out that Tayshia is replacing Clare Crawley as Bachelorette.
Ooh.
We have also found out that this is because Clare fell for one of her contestants. So we do think the show did work as it was supposed to. We just
Right,
don't
exactly.
we don't know how. We don't know what that means. Is Claire together with this person? Is she not? Is she engaged? We will all have to watch and find out. And this is why I love the show, because we hear these rumors. I mean, it's nothing new for things to leak out, whether it's through social media or who knows, somebody
Right.
blabbering from inside the bubble. But I love finding out little drips and droplets of tea. And then we're going to watch it all play out when the season finally premieres this fall.
I have a question for you because obviously you're right. It's unprecedented in so many ways. And yet after 15 seasons of The Bachelorette, they're still finding ways to keep us on our toes and totally interested. But my question is, is this allowed? Obviously, we know that the contestants and the leads, they're signed to a contract. So do you think, like, how was it able to just happen like this where Claire was like, you know what, guys, I fell in love. Like, I don't want to be the Bachelorette anymore.
That's such a good question, and I think a lot of fans are wondering that too. We very infamously saw Colton Underwood, for example, get frustrated with what was happening on his season and literally run and jump the fence to
Jump the
try to get
fence.
away from producers, right? So it's like, are you trapped by your contract? I think the answer, of course, is like any contract, that is a binding legal document. However, these producers are people too, and they're making a show where they want their contestant to find love. Like Chris Harrison, the longtime host, has always said this. At the end of the day, it's not good for them if the lead isn't like happy, isn't finding love, isn't getting what they want to get. They want a
Mhm.
successful show because that makes good television. So all we can do is speculate right now. My guess is that, the producers and Claire had to have some kind of discussion where they both came to an agreement like, look, this is what's best for you and for us. I
Mhm.
just did an interview with Ali Fedotowsky on Monday because her season's episode of The Bachelor Greatest Seasons Ever was airing. So it
Uh-huh.
was a good moment to like talk to her about this.
I feel like Claire, maybe she was like, there is no top two, there's a top one, and I know it right now, and I'm done. And I think that is so awesome. Not only that she figured that out, if that's the case, but I think it's awesome of the show to let that happen, because I think in my season, if I had said that, that wouldn't have been allowed to like stop everything down or like send a bunch of people home. So the fact that they're like shaking it up and like saying, sure, fine, you can go and we're going to bring in someone new, I just think that's so much fun. I hope that's the case.
I think you see with
Right.
the Bachelorettes a lot, especially women have that gut instinct. We've seen the guy who gets
That
the
first
first
impression
impression
rose.
rose. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all often the guy at the end. So it seems like Claire maybe really, really zeroed in on someone. I don't know. Like, I don't know. But, Allie pointed out, even though you might zero in on somebody, like with her, it was just two people. So I don't know. With Claire, was this one person? Did she just really fall hard and fast for somebody and say to the producers, look, I have literally nothing else to explore here? Because the producers will also say, look, you might want to second guess your gut instinct. Let's figure things
Mm.
out. And a lot of the leads will tell you they're right about that. Sometimes your gut instinct is totally off. Like, Allie really fell for this guy Frank on her night one, and then he dumped her towards the end.
Right.
So good thing she did continue to explore her options. But I don't know. We're gonna have to watch and see. And a lot of people are questioning, and I don't know. But Clare was in quarantine for months before she could go and start filming. So what do you think, Denny? Do you think she was able to resist reaching out and maybe talking to some of those guys? She admitted she Googled them on a podcast, but did she DM them?
What do we all do when we are going to meet someone where, like, whether it's on a dating app or a setup or someone we're going on a first date with? What do? We Google them. We do as much research ahead of the date to find out. And if she had the opportunity to do that, I would, especially considering that she doesn't have much time to pick, you know, like, even though there's this huge crop of guys coming her way, doesn't she want to do a little process of elimination or just like a quick, you know, research on some of these guys to begin with? I wouldn't put it past her that she kind of like already had her mindset a little bit of who she was looking forward to meeting. You know what I mean?
I think it would be impossible to not Google the guys, to not get excited. The question will be, and we'll have to answer that because people have gotten criticized for that on the franchise in the past for starting to talk to people before filming. Did Clare do that? We don't know. There is so much mystery here. There will still be so many questions to be answered. How will the show handle the transition from Clare to Tayshia? Will Tayshia have some of the same guys? Will new guys be brought in? Like, again, I'm just like, I don't know how after almost 2 decades on TV, this franchise continues to surprise and shock fans, but like, I'm here for it every time.
And let's not forget that we literally had Colton Underwood's jumping of the fence season, and then Hannah Brown's bombshell season, which was insane. And then we had
the windmill, the Jesus loves me moment.
It's just like one thing after the other. One thing's for sure, this is going to make for some good TV. It's a great storyline. And not to mention, as someone who watched Tayshia on Colton's season of The Bachelor, and then her falling in love with John Paul Jones on Bachelor in Paradise, which ultimately did not work out, I'm a huge fan of hers. And I think this is an amazing move on ABC's part, not to mention the fact that, of course, this is their second ever Black female lead on The Bachelorette, and the first time that the franchise has ever done back-to-back Black star, people of color, I should say, on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. What did you think of the casting decision here?
I think it's like, look, it's hard for me because people will say a lot like, well, do you like Tayshia? I've met Tayshia several times. I've interviewed her several times. I absolutely like her. She's always been kind and lovely. Does that make for great television? That's a different question. Like a lot of people critiqued Colton Underwood being The Bachelor. Well, guess what? Then he delivered a dynamo season because he was such an emotional person. Yeah. Tayshia, I think, is more level-headed, but a lot of it's also about timing. She was considered a front runner for Bachelorette after Colton's season. I think it was the right choice to not make her the Bachelorette then. Hannah delivered an unbelievable, unforgettable season of TV. Now Tayshia's been on Paradise. We've seen her fall in love, get her heart broken more. Yeah. I think she could deliver an absolutely unparalleled season now that she's had a little more heartbreak in her life, gotten some more experience on television, and she's going to be great. She was kind of in the running. There was a lot of chatter even between her and Clare, so I know she was somebody they were thinking about. They were also thinking about Tia Booth, but making Tayshia this decision now on the heels of the franchise getting critiqued for some of its diversity amongst leads, I think it's a win-win here, and it's a good move for the franchise. And I actually talked to, we got an exclusive statement from Rachel Lindsay about this, of course, the only ever Black Bachelorette. And here's what she had to say to us, if we can bring that up. She told ET exclusively that she is thrilled to have Tayshia as the new Bachelorette. She said, there are other single women in Bachelor Nation that the show could have chosen, and there were other alumni considered for this role, so I am really happy they chose Tayshia. She went on to say, I do still want to see some additional producers of all colors brought in, but the change is being made and I'm happy to see it. I would love, I laughed when she told me this on the phone, I'd love to get to shut up about all this and step back. And this is a big step towards that. I will watch this season as a proud fan. So look, the franchise making those moves. I know in recent years they had made pledges to make the cast more diverse, and that they had done that. Peter Weber's season was a record 40% diverse cast, but they did not have the diversity amongst the leads. And so to see back-to-back leads of color, as you mentioned, I think it's great.
And it's interesting to hear from Rachel also say she wants also the diversity and representation behind the scenes as well, behind the cameras with the producers. But with Tayshia now, our new Bachelorette, and of course Matt James, the first ever Black Bachelor, I think it is a step in the right direction. And girl, I'm gonna be watching. Rosé in hand, popcorn. Like I cannot wait for these shows to return on the air.
I can't wait. You know what I'm picturing and envisioning and hoping for and dreaming of? I want to see some breaking of the fourth wall happen with like however Clare leaves, because the show's very smart. They delicately break the fourth wall. They don't do it all the time. And of course, breaking the fourth wall means like showing the behind the scenes. How are these production choices getting made? I want to see
lifting the veil over the show of production.
Yes,
Yeah.
like what were those conversations like with Clare, with bringing Tayshia in? I hope that they pull back the curtain and let fans see that a little bit. And again, we don't know. We don't know who Clare falls for, how it happened, if she's with that person, like where she is now. We don't know. We saw on Sunday night, her Twitter account liked and then unliked a tweet about Tayshia being the Bachelorette. And that's kind of how all this news started to snowball and get out there, and how we ultimately found out Tayshia is the new Bachelorette. So does Clare have her phone back? We don't know. We don't know what's going on. And there are questions to be answered. You mentioned too the producers and behind the scenes people of color. I think that's a question we have to have answered. Like nobody from the production side, whether it's producers or executives at ABC, has done interviews yet about this new season. It's been kind of a media silence. So once they do start doing those interviews, those are questions to be answered. They might have made changes. We don't know yet. So it's going to be exciting. A lot still to come.
One thing we know for sure is that Tayshia, who was reportedly in the running to be the Bachelorette this cycle, told ET just days before Clare's announcement that she'd love to get the gig, and I think she's perfect for it. So I can't wait to watch it all go down.